Okay, so we're going to pick back up with our table, but this time we are going to look at some filtering options with our table. So we're going to use the same file that we were using in the previous video, which is the 09 Pet Pharma Sales, and we have the August solution up. And when you create a table, you automatically get the same drop downs that you do when you turn on a filter. And they are here for each one of our columns, and we press them down, and that will allow us to sort, and it will also allow us to filter. So we're going to start with our total sales over here, and under the number filter, we are going to come down and we are going to pick top 10. Now, top 10 is a little slight deceiving because it can be top and you can change it to bottom, and it doesn't have to be 10. I could do top 15, 22. And then the other thing I can do is the top 10 or top percent. So like when we are trying to figure out top 10 in class in school, we do top 10 items. And if I wanted the top 10% of the class, that would be possibly different than 10. Just depends on how many people are in your class. So with that said, we are going to leave it as top 10 items, and we're going to press OK. Now, if we look over here on the left-hand side, we see blue, and there are, I'm going to select B18 to B89 because there's words here, and I'm going to come down to my status bar, and I'm going to see that there are 10. So I know that this filter worked. Now, if I look over here at K6, I can see the filter icon is activated because that's where I applied the filter. All right, I'm going to press Save. All right, so now I'm going to come over here and I am going to open up a file that we did in a previous lesson that we imported and we appended, I should say, because it already had 20 rows of information, and then we added to it and we cut and pasted, and I changed Dell City to Dell City. Okay, so regardless, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into a table. So I'm going to select A1 down here to G73. And I am going to come up here to the Home tab. I'm going to go to the Styles group, and I'm going to format as table. And I am going to pick table style medium 14. So I'm going to come down here to medium. I'm going to hunt for 14, which is this lovely shade of green. I'm going to double check that it is the right range, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press OK. And it says, because this range contains data that was appended from an outside source, the query related to the outside source is still attached to the range. So we're just going to go ahead and say, yes, that's okay. And now I have my table, and I know it's a table because when I click inside the data, I get the table tools design contextual tab. All right, so it says to rename the table. So if you remember, that's table tools and design, and that's under property. So I'm going to back out what's here. And I'm going to change this to owners. And once you type it in and you are sure you are right, because it's not one of those things you can easily undo, press enter. All right, now it says change the font for the entire table to Cambria 11 points. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to click inside the table. I'm going to go to the Home tab. I'm going to come over here to my font, find Cambria. And if you look, I'm inside my table, and it only changed the one. Okay, so it says change the font for the entire table. So I can't do select all, but I am going to come down here and I am going to select that range. Now I'm going to pick Cambria, and it changes it, and it's already on size 11. Now it says to less justify column G. So I'm going to select column G. I'm going to come to the Home tab, to the alignment group, and I'm going to pick align left. And it says with any cell in the owner's table selected, click the data tab, and then in the sort and filter group, click sort. And what we're trying to see here is that I can either sort by my drop down arrows, or I can still come up and use, or through the home tab or the data tab, I can use the sort this way as well. And I'll show you how they're still tied together in just a second. So I'm going to do last name, values A to Z. I'm going to add a level, and I am going to do first name, and I'm going to leave it values A to Z. So I'm going to press OK. Now, if you look here at A1 and B1, I have two filters applied. Here's what you can't do. I needed a two-level sort, okay? If I would have dropped this down and I would have picked A to Z here, and then I would have came over here and I would have picked A to Z, it would have only done the one, if you remember from my previous video. But I could have, if I technically wanted to, press this down arrow and done, I know this is weird, sort by color, custom sort, and it takes me to the same dialog box as it does if I had pressed sort up here. So just giving you some options. All right. Rita is at the top, and that's what we want. I'm going to press save. Okay, so we're going to continue with the sorting for one more slide, and it says with the owners table activated, we're going to go to the data tab, and we are going to click on sort again. But I'm going to show you again. We can come here and do sort by color, custom sort, and get there the same way. And they want us to delete a level. So it says in the sort dialog box, click delete level, and then click delete level again. And they want both of those to go away. If you only wanted to delete one particular one, you do have to come down here and select it and then press delete. So I'm going to click add level. And this time I'm going to sort by zip. And I'm going to press OK. And that's going to be values smallest to largest. And now I am sorting by zip code. And Lisa is at the top based on that. And I only have the sort icon for F1, A1, and B1 are gone. All right, I'm going to press save. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about, we've talked about this in a previous lesson as well, is removing duplicates in a table. Now, when we did this last time, we did through the data tab in the data tools group. This time, since we're using a table, we're going to use it in the table tools design in the tools group, and we're going to click remove duplicates. So I got to be inside my table, and I am going to click remove duplicates, and I have the dialog box, and it lets us determine how much of the records need to be duplicated before it qualifies as a duplicate. For instance, 2 or more customers might have the same name, though they probably don't share the same address or phone number. So in the column list, uncheck city, state, and zip. All right, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to press OK, and this is where I am like, yeah, because it's going to get rid of them. So what we have said is that the duplicates are probably in last name, first name, address, and phone number. And my column headings have been here in row 1, so I want to leave this checked here. So I'm going to press OK. And it is going to remove 17. I press OK. All right. Now, I am going to show you how to, I'm going to copy this worksheet really quick, move it to the end. Okay, so I am inside of my table, and I am going to show you convert to range, which is on the table tools design. So I'm going to click convert to range, and I am going to say yes. And you notice I am inside of this, what looks like a table, but my contextual tab is gone. So it's not a table anymore. So what does convert to range do? It turns it back to a worksheet. Okay, but it still looks like my table, which is slightly confusing. Now, make another copy of this owners. I'm going to show you something else. So move it over here. Okay, I'm going to rename this one real quick. I don't know why I'm doing it that way. Okay, and I am going to call this, so you can remember. And then this one, Okay, I'm inside of my table. I am going to go to the Home tab. Actually, I can go to Table Tools, Design. I'm going to drop down Table Styles. I'm going to press undo because I didn't mean to change that. And I am going to press this clear. Now look, that looks like what we had originally. But if I still click inside of here, Table Tools is still here. So what am I trying to show you? Convert to range puts it back to a worksheet. See, no contextual tab, but still looks like a table. When I go into Table Tools Design, I go to Table Tools Styles and I click on Clear, it gets rid of the formatting, but it's still a table. So this one looks like a typical worksheet, but still a table. This one looks like a table, but is really a worksheet. So I just wanted to kind of show you that because it's something that tends to confuse people. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you in this video is how to do a slicer. All right, so a slicer is pretty cool. It's just another way to filter data, essentially. You'll see your doctor's offices use this a lot, especially if you are trying to schedule an appointment maybe with a particular doctor. So they will kind of click on the doctor, and then maybe you have a particular month, and they'll click on all these things, these little slicer panels, and they will be able to then quickly see what appointments are available. So it's a floating pane, okay, that appears, or a panel that appears, and you can move them wherever you want. And you can resize them as well. All right, and it won't be the last time we talk about a slicer either. All right, so I'm going to go back to the '09 Pet Pharma here, and we're going to go to the Data tab, and I'm going to clear all my filters. So that is done in the Sort and Filter group, and I click Clear. Now, I really only had one filter applied, so I could have just came down here to Total Sales and clicked Clear. But remember, the difference between pressing the drop down and Clear is that gets rid of that one for the particular field. If I come up here to data and I press clear, it gets rid of all of them. So if you just want to do it quickly and you know you want to get rid of all of them, data is probably the faster way to go, or the home tab. Okay, so I'm inside my table, okay, and I am going to click on that design contextual tab. And since I'm in my table, I want the Table Tools Design Slicer. Just keep them together. And over here in Tools, you see Insert Slicer. Now, what happens is it's going to ask us what fields, what columns do you want to have be part of your slicer. They would like us to pick for use on and to treat. So I'm going to press OK. Now, all of a sudden, I have, and I'm going to put them over here so I can still see them and I can still see my data. I can move them. See how they're floating panes? Okay, so they can be moved. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so then you can see. And I can also resize these, okay, if I wanted to. So then I could see more of the list. Now, the other thing I want to show you is when I'm clicked on one of them, right now I'm clicked on the one for use on, it comes with a contextual tab as well. It's called Slicer Tools Options. And I could give it a caption name. It says for use on. I can change the style if I wanted to. Just like a picture, I could bring it forward or send it backwards. I could change the height and the width of it, which I could do manually over here too, but I could do it on the contextual tab as well. But it does have a contextual tab. When I click on these, when I'm on the actual slicer, the contextual tab appears. Okay, so how do we use a slicer? Okay, so we've moved them. And now what we're going to do is, so pretend this was your doctor's office stuff, right? And you wanted to, I'm going to clear that. You wanted to see Dr. Chewy, okay? And so you would click on Dr. Chewy over here, and then maybe you wanted to see him in June, and then you'd click on the month here. And then it might tell them the available dates, just depends on the structure of this. So see, it's quickly changing everything over here in my actual table. So how do I clear these? If I click on the little clear filter on the slicer pane, they bring everything back to as is. So in regards to this, I am going to click dog down here. So I'm looking for medicine that will treat dogs. And then I want endocrine. And here are the medicines I have available that will treat dogs' endocrine systems. And then again, of course, I can clear these and I could do puppy, and I only have one thing for puppy. And I could click on cat, and so I can easily manipulate and go through these as well without having to clear the filter too. So if I wanted to multiple select, there is the option here, and that would let me multi-select items if I wanted to. So maybe I want to do cat or cat and kitten, not dog. Okay, so if you don't want it again, see dog or cat, I can deselect it and select it again. So when it's selected, it's blue. All right, so maybe I want to do their eye. So what do I have? I have one thing. It's for dog or cat. Okay, so it's just easy. I mean, it's just easy to see what you have available with these slicers. It's faster than even pressing the drop down arrow when you have the slicers to manipulate and to see information. Okay. And I've already showed you how to convert to a table and the difference between doing that and clearing the styles. All right, I hope that helps you learn a little bit more about tables. Thank you. Bye.